Don in London, hello. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance for addiction, alcohol, my behaviour, trying to be perfect at whatever I was trying to do, be it work or social or anything, trying to be perfect and never ever so. Always looking for what might be around the corner, or what next, all those things of what if. What if my life was better? And I think that kept me drinking a long time, and kept me doing things a long time which were not good for me. 2 or 3 careers, in fact, which I careered around and did fairly well at, and then found that life was just so miserable I could not make it work anymore. And then I drank and drank and drank. And the problem with addiction is we don't know we're in it till we're in it. We always feel that we have self-will and self-control. And what I realised at the end was I had either no self-will, no self-control, or no idea how to make my life work again. And then I encountered the fellowship of AA, that's Alcoholics Anonymous, and I disliked it intensely at the beginning because it just said, take it easy, do some listening, and turn up to meetings a few times a week and see how life changes. And I did that, and I stayed angry because I wasn't able to listen too well. I was still drinking. So when I stopped drinking and had enough time to actually start to realise I had a bundle of feelings inside me I just didn't know what to do with, mainly boiling rage about my life and how awful it had turned out to be, and depression on top. It didn't help at all. So not only could I see no way out, I just didn't want to live anymore, and I cannot recall how many times I used to wake up thinking, oh no, I'm awake, I've got to do it all over again. And that's really a bit about the insanity of the disease of addiction. Insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting something different to happen. Well, it doesn't unless we get out of that insanity. So eventually I did get some dry time, and I kept on going back to AA and started to listen and see and hear some wisdom. So I don't speak for AA, never will, not my job, nobody's job actually. It's a bunch of people who go to do one thing, and it's contained in the preamble which is shared at every meeting of AA I attend, and it goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I guess the primary purpose of these videos is for me sharing a message of hope and a bit of experience and a bit of wisdom learned along the way. And you know, it's personal wisdom, it's not wisdom which may suit everybody. And obviously we all have our own free will, freedom of choice is back once we get over addiction and get into recovery. And that's my feeling. And it also helped me realise that a lot of the things I used to do in my life, which I felt were important things, that I had power over something or other, were not really helpful to me. I needed another way forward. So the fellowship for me has enabled me to understand a bit more about spiritual, emotional and physical well-being. You cannot measure success with the AA program in terms of material things or anything to do with relationships. It's how we actually develop as a person and get our choices back, and then the rest follows, whether we're motivated one way or another to vocational, whatever we do is based on a freedom of choice rather than a willpower broken daily by addiction to either substance or behaviour. So far from perfect, plenty of defects, here I am. And these daily videos I use books from the fellowship to illustrate how life is working for me or not working for me. And sometimes, you know, in the big picture, one would like to say that recovery is marvellous and wonderful, and it is actually marvellous and wonderful, but that does not mean we're going to get events and everything is going to be wonderful all the time in the sense of success or things going right. As many times as there is a success, there's probably a failure or a misunderstanding and work to do to improve my outlook, be it emotional, spiritual. So Daily Reflections is one book I use, and as Bill sees it, the other one, the mainstay of what I'm doing here. And I'm covering the 12-step action program, 12 steps of AA, that's the fellowship of AA, and the second step and second month, February, is came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And coming to believe anything after you've been in a state of complete powerlessness over drink or addiction, coming to believe that something might help, a higher power. I'm a very practical nuts and bolts person, and it's taken me a long time to actually understand that there are many powers greater than me. Many people with lots of wisdom experience strength and hope, which I have not been able to tap into in the past. But these days I hear it and then can utilise it. So for me, my higher power is very simple. It's called truth, the truth of now. And Gandhi said God is truth, and that will do for me. It's a very practical way of looking at the world. I can deny things, I can be dishonest in my feelings simply because I don't want to be hurt. So the more I put on a brave face or utilise my ego to extremes and live in fear, I'm not going to get very far. But if I can say to myself, I'm going to have a better day by having a bit of faith, courage and confidence to be able to discern the right thing, the next right choice, based on what I know, and sharing that with others, I have a better chance. And something else I do in the morning is ask myself, how am I feeling? Why? What can I do? And this morning, how am I feeling? I'm feeling a little better, because I realise there's been a huge gift, a relationship in my life, which has sort of ended, but in a strange way. It's the first time I've had an intimate relationship with a very lovely lady, lovely woman, who also is in recovery. And we're learning, and we learned, and we didn't end up together. But the gift is the extraordinary development of life in sobriety, and not having to rely on putting on a brave face, utilising ego, getting into that place of fear. The what if I say this and what if I say that. It actually just has turned out that more honesty is coming out after the relationship has ended, and that I say with a smile, because courage, faith and confidence, to be honest, often comes from a place of acceptance of how life is today, not trying to make it one way or the other. So I'm lucky to have had the relationship, and I'm also lucky because it hasn't said to me, never do it again. In fact, it's done the opposite. It said, my head says, you've had a great success in a way, and did we ever get it right the first time when we were young? And the answer is no. I'm running on a bit, but for February the 5th, a glorious release. The minute I stopped arguing, I could begin to see and feel. Right there, step 2 gently and very gradually began to infiltrate my life. I can't say upon what occasion or upon what day I came to believe in a power greater than myself, which for me is truth. But I certainly have that belief now. To acquire it, I had only to stop fighting and practice the rest of AA's program as enthusiastically as I could, and I wasn't very enthusiastic to start with. It took me a long time. After years of indulging in a self-will run riot, step 2 became for me a glorious release from being all alone. Nothing is so painful or insurmountable in my journey now. Someone is always there to share life's burdens with me, and that's in fellowship. Step 2 became a reinforcement with God, or good conscience, and I now realise that my insanity and ego were curiously linked. To rid myself of the former, that's my ego, I must give up the latter. Sorry, I got that the wrong way round, but I now realise my insanity and ego were curiously linked. To rid myself of the former, my insanity, I must give up the latter, my ego, and one with a broader shoulder, and give up the latter to one with far broader shoulders than my own. And for me, the far broader shoulders rest in truth, and my truth spiritual is in the here and now. So if I try to solve my problems with my old history, my old experience and wisdom of drink, I'm not going to get very far. But if I have a bit of courage, faith and confidence, and rest easy that I'm in good company who can give me wisdom and more experience and hope about how to live my life, and still make my own personal choices, my freedom to choose my path, and that is the absolute gift of AA. It's not there to change you into something you're not. It's to allow you to emerge as you are. And that's the real gift. And what helps me on a daily basis also is acceptance, which is getting the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, just one day at a time, and with a little help from higher powers.